All right, we are talking about chapter 9 today. So we're just gonna kick things off. Um, there's a lot of great moments in this chapter, but what are your guys' takes on Draco Malfoy? I know a lot of people have sympathy for him, and a lot of people actually really like him.
I never liked him in the first book, not once.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very difficult to say now, especially because you have the overall like view of him, but obviously in the beginning.
Initial like opinion of him was like years and years ago, but I don't think I can't remember liking him or having any kind of sympathy for him until like the 7th book.
Yeah, I think I was kind of the same. I don't think I ever really liked him on my first read. I like hated him. And then the more and more I read it, the more and more sympathetic I am to him. I think he's a really interesting character. But he's despicable in this chapter, at least.
He's just a little turd.
Yeah, I know. It's so annoying.
It's like everybody knew that kid, and you're just like, oh, like, just why are you such a jerk? Like, you just do it because I don't know. It just makes him happy, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Wait, isn't he one of Lana's favorite characters?
He is. I love Draco so much.
Perfect entrance. Why do you like Draco?
Hold on one second.
He's just I just think that he's such a great like kind of antagonist to Harry. I like every single moment they're together in the books. He and Harry and Ron, it's like nonstop laughs. Honestly, like they're little snipes at each other, and the way I don't know, just the way he like brings them out and like calls them out and makes them like partake in things like this midnight duel thing that they do. It's just so perfect. I love it.
He really is a great antagonist.
From the beginning. Did you like the first time you read the book the first time you read the book, did you like him from the beginning, or is it like your overall opinion of him?
I actually kind of like I liked him from the beginning. I was older when I read the books. Like I wasn't a little kid, so that kind of like bullying behavior, like it didn't make me hate him or anything, right? Beyond that, but yeah. So like I get it. If you're a little kid, you're kind of like, I hate Draco. You hate him as much as Harry hates him if you're a kid, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a good point, because I was basically the same age as the characters when I've read it for the first time. So I mean that makes sense.
Yeah, to me in the first book, like he's quite okay, tolerable, but then in the second, third, and fourth, I hate him. And then in the fifth one, like he's not really a big focus compared to what Harry is going through. And then 6 and 7, I feel a bit bad for him.
I hated him in the 5th book. 5th he was my least favorite. Oh my gosh, what a turd.
I think he gets overshadowed by other evil people in the school.
Yeah, for sure.
That's true. There's a lot of evil in that book.
I must say, like, after I love Veggie Gamer's comment about him that he lives rent-free in Harry's mind. And I think that is really true, because probably most of the time, okay, I think for Harry is the same for Harry in Draco's mind as well. But I think most of the time Draco's just like living his life, and Harry is like fixating on this guy, trying to make his life horrible. And I think that's not even always the intent of Draco doing it. It just sort of naturally happens. And it sort of makes this villain worse in his mind than he actually is, which is normal for like a kid at that.
I think they both do that. I think Malfoy does the same to Harry.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's obviously more difficult because we don't get Draco's like point of view. But I mean, like I do it all the time. Like I'll have like a argument in my mind with someone that like who I'm mad at, and then like I'll make it worse than it is, and then I'll be mad at that person, and they didn't even like think about it, like gave it a second thought.
And then like 10 years down the line, you have like a good excuse, or you have a good comeback to someone that like something mean that someone said 10 years ago. You're like, that's what I should have said to them.
Something I've always wondered is if they hadn't like okay, Slytherin and Gryffindor hadn't been already like set up as like, the enemies, I guess, like would they have had a chance at being friends, or do they just have conflicting personalities just naturally occurring? So I don't know.
I think from the point that Draco said something bad about Hagrid, I think that made him Harry's like enemy. Yeah.
Yeah, the way Malfoy looks at other people, I think, was always going to be a sticking point. Like, it was going to make it so that they weren't compatible. I don't know if that's really so much personality as how he was raised, though.
Yes. Yeah. I agree with that, too. I do wonder, like, if Malfoy had been raised in a different environment, were those actually like what his true opinion was, or was he just basically just parroting what his parents believed or what he heard his dad, or I don't know. Malfoy, like over the years of reading it, Malfoy's character has definitely become more interesting, I have to say, for sure.
Yeah, to me, I think
but that's like as an adult read.
As soon as he basically starts developing his own personality and doesn't parrot anymore what he was brought up with, which happens kind of maybe at the end of 6 and then 7 mostly, I think he then gets more liked also by Harry. I mean, they're not friends, but I think they can understand each other a bit better. But as long as he's still spouting the hateful things that he's taught or brought up with, I think they don't have really a chance of becoming friends.
Yeah.
He's also just one of those like annoying rich kids when you're like in grade school, He's like the worst when you're like a little kid like that. But I'm actually interested. What are your guys, not even just like headcanons, but what are your guys, do you guys have any like takes on Draco? Because I know a lot of people, and I kind of think this too, that I think he's one of the better students at Hogwarts. I love that take, but he just almost seems antagonistic and like he's a bit racist. What are some other like attributes that you have of Draco that's in your head?
He's arrogant.
Yeah, for sure. But he's like very hesitant about certain things, which is actually, I don't know if that's true in these books. In these books, he seems sure of himself. In books to follow, he doesn't seem so sure of himself, and he seems very cautious and hesitant.
I think that makes sense because now he's like, he sort of got to know Harry a bit better, and he also saw that, his status can't get him, that far. So I think it makes sense that he's a bit hesitant in the second book onwards than in the first one. And also, like, they're all very, I think, even if he doesn't show that much, I think he's also very nervous of going to Hogwarts. Yeah. So, I mean, that can also be a coping mechanism for him to be that way. Yeah.
Now, would you guys want to have a remember all?
Yes, but I wanted to tell me what I forgot.
Yeah, I know. I needed to tell me what I forgot. Otherwise, I would not want one at all.
I would lose it.
Like, thanks, I forgot something awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's to show you like in smoke with the object that you forgot. That'd be great. But just showing you what you forgot.
Just like vaguely showing you the shape, so you still have to kind of figure it out.
Yeah, agreed.
Or it should be color coded. If it's like red, it's like you forgot to do this. If it's blue, you forgot to do this, or whatever. Or like in categories, you get like different categories of colors.
Like a mood ring and a remember all put together.
Basically.
Yeah. No, that'd be really cool. Especially because I forget a lot of things. I'm one of those, if I don't write it down, it doesn't exist. It just doesn't happen. Calendar's like big.
What were things that stuck out to you guys? We're going to talk about a few other questions I have, but what were questions or things that stuck out to you guys in these chapters? Or maybe like foreshadowing points that you guys liked?
I always loved it.
I must say, like, a thing that... Sorry, you can go on.
Oh, sorry. I always loved that he stuck up for Neville, but that was just kind of, that's the thing that always comes to mind with this chapter, with the Remember chapters. Like that's the part of his character that shows through, is like he's willing to step up for somebody, you know.
And later on, he goes like, "You're worth 12 of Malfoy," or something. Does he say that in this chapter? When does he actually say that? You're worth 12 of Malfoy, and then Neville repeats
That's just
that.
before the game.
Yeah.
Not the first
that's
one.
That's in Quidditch. Yeah.
I see now that I didn't separate the two chapters. I don't know. Wait. Okay. So I like when Harry, like he's actually the only one that shows kindness to Neville, because he actually asks Neville, "How's your arm?" From Ron and Hermione, that was like found when they found Neville outside. This isn't this chapter now. Yeah. Yeah, when they go to the so when they find Neville in the passageway, they actually ask, like Harry is the one that asks him, like, "How's your arm?" So which I like I think that shows Harry's kindness and compassion for other people, and I think that gets overlooked sometimes.
Yeah, poor Neville sleeping outside.
Yeah, I know. I feel like Neville is one of those kids that, you know, like kids are always like, "Oh, the world's against me. Everything's turning bad just for me." And you're like, "No, you're not. Just relax." I feel like that's the case with Neville. When he's on his broom, this is what it says, wham. And thus a nasty crack, and Neville lay face down on the grass in a heap. His broomstick was still rising higher and higher and started to drift lazily toward the forbidden forest and out of sight. I'm like, a broomstick that just gets up. He just picked the wrong broomstick out of all the broomsticks that were lying there. The poor Neville just got the wrong broomstick, and the least confident kid gets the worst broomstick and just sets his confidence even smaller. I'm like, poor Neville.
Also, there,
I think he did kick the ground very hard, to be fair.
Yeah, for sure.
A little overcompensation there.
Yeah.
Like, I was wondering, what's the nature versus nurture of being like a klutz? Like, because it sounds to me like he had not really a confidence inspiring or building upbringing, because his grandmother didn't let him near a broomstick ever, while other kids did. Like, just because she probably thought he wouldn't be able to cope, and that like maybe spirals down. So as soon as he starts getting like more and more chances to kind of prove himself, he also starts to be less clumsy, I think.
I'm actually kind of with you on that. Like the nature and nurture discussion for him specifically is fascinating, because was he just kind of like, I don't think he was really born a klutz. I don't know. Neville's upbringing is strange to me, because simultaneously I think he would be incredible if his parents were still parenting him and they were still actually able to have that capacity. But at the same time, like, his situations made him who he was, so he wasn't confident. But would he have fallen into his confidence earlier? Would he have been kind of like a mirror version of Harry if his parents had died? So I don't know. He is, again, Neville's like one of my favorite characters. So he's just one of the most fascinating. Yeah.
I just love him so much.
I know.
I feel like this, especially this one, like I just want to give him a hug.
Yeah, I know.
He just, poor kid. He's just been through hell, you know?
Yeah, poor kid can't win.
Yeah, I do wonder how much seeing his parents helpless affected him.
That's true.
Because Harry didn't see anything. Harry just grew up with his uncle NEWT. But Neville had to visit his parents and saw him struggling and in a very sort of dazed condition.
Yes, and then also having like this overprotective grandmother at home, and then also see why she's overprotective. I think also made a big impact on him.
Worst kind of uncle as well.
Yeah, I know.
Great uncle.
Do you see if you're gonna bounce?
Yeah.
You know.
Do you guys think that?
To be honest, I'll drop someone for a meringue as well. So I do not fault him at all.
Do you guys think that Neville enjoyed going to visit his parents? Because I think maybe when he gets older, he enjoys going to visit them. It's still tragic for him.
It's kind of a bittersweet thing, though.
Yeah.
He enjoys seeing them, but at the same time, it's
like painful.
It's heartbreaking because you still love your parents, just no matter what, and it hurts to see them in that state. Like I can only imagine.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
All of them, hopefully, we don't have to deal with that.
I know. It is tragic. Because the one chapter,
as a child, you're still developing, so you can't really process things the same way as an adult would.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the one.
Kids really.
Go ahead, Bria.
I was just gonna say, kids really develop their sense of identity too from seeing their parents. So that could have had a big impact, even on his confidence, maybe.
Yeah. It's all like the what if questions are so fascinating to me. Like, what if Neville had parents who weren't tortured into insanity?
He kept a lot of it to himself too, because you don't find out. He doesn't talk about his parents.
Yeah.
I feel like he keeps a lot of himself to himself, so we don't find out what he's capable of until much later on. You know, and that just could be part of him just remaining private. You know, just as soon as like he saw a role that needed to be filled, and so he stepped into it. You know.
There was a point that when I was talking with Lizzie, there was a point where we were mentioning in book 4 when Harry goes like he had never asked Neville about his parents or like any of that kind of thing. And I was thinking about that discussion. I don't know if Neville would actually have given him that information. Do you think that Neville would be, I don't want to say an open book because I don't think he would be an open book, but do you think he would be more willing to talk about his parents with like, I don't know. Does he have a true friend right now? That's the thing that crushes me a little bit. Like, if he had a really good friend, would he have been an open book with that person?
I think so. I mean, I don't think he would have been open to everybody about it.
Yeah.
Necessarily. But if he'd been close to somebody, I mean, all of us know what it's like to be able to have somebody close to us and feel how good it is to actually like talk to them about things that are important.
Yeah.
But maybe at an older age as well, not this young.
Yeah, for sure.
No.
And I think they'd have to be really, really close.
Yes. I agree.
It's not like first conversation. It's not like when
like on the way to Hogwarts. The Hogwarts
Icebreaker.
Yeah. It's like when Draco actually asks Harry, he's like, "Where are your parents?" And he's like, "My parents are dead." I don't think Neville's like, "My parents were tortured into insanity." How do you like that? You know.
Way to bring the room down, Neville.
I just asked how you were. Gosh.
Do you guys think? I just had this sudden idea. Could it be that the parents maybe still can understand what's going on, but they can't like let it out? Like they remember. Yeah.
That was always my headcanon, honestly. Like I felt like they could understand more about what was going on around them than they were able to communicate. You know?
That's awful.
I don't know. That's just headcanon. I don't know if there's a way for us to know that for sure, unless we ask J.K. Rowling.
Is there confirmation on what the Cruciatus Curse actually does? Like it inflicts pain on you, but what is that pain? Is that pain just in your mind? Is that pain external? Like, what is that pain?
I mean, all pain is in your mind.
Yeah,
right? It's just I always assumed that it was like it activates your nerve, right? So that you're getting like that true horrific nerve pain throughout your entire body. That's always what's been my headcanon on the Cruciatus.
Mine as well.
Doesn't
good question though.
Yeah, like having every nerve exposed, basically. That's what
Doesn't Bellatrix like at some point she's deciding, I think it's with Harry, she's like using her wand to kind of scan over him and deciding where to focus the pain on. I feel like
that's
she's
Umbridge.
I'm trying to remember where. I can't remember where that is.
Yeah, I think that's Umbridge.
Where I'm remembering that from.
Umbridge?
Yeah.
Oh, Umbridge. Yeah.
Oh, is it Umbridge, not Bellatrix?
Yeah.
The fact that you can name your characters.
Exactly.
Pretty much the
What
same
is
thing.
French, apparently?
Same, but different.
Same, but different. That's funny.
No.
That is interesting because I guess if the all pain is in your mind, I wonder what kind of addling it would do to their brain. Like if it would still give them the capacity to think, but just not to be able to express that. Because I would think like it's different between, I don't know, like dementia versus like, I don't know, something else. Is there like a disease where you like paralysis or something like that? I don't know.
I wonder if you put their thoughts in a pensive, what would you see?
Such a good question.
Mm.
Yeah. I feel like I don't think that they understand necessarily everything. Definitely more than what they can communicate. Because the gum wrapper thing, like ever since that, I could never see a gum wrapper without thinking about Neville's
I know,
parents.
yeah. But
No, I avoid gum at all times.
Oh no, I would have all of them.
But I wonder if there's like has to be some story like Joe has to have some story about the gum wrapper and why that thing was so significant. Because I'm like maybe Neville as like a 1-year-old or something like that just like wanted to chew gum all the time, and his parents knew that, and they like wanted to give him this maybe behind their eyes. They like know that this is going to connect him in some way.
Heartbreaking to think about.
I know.
You mean?
I know. Speculation on Neville's parents. It's so sad.
Bringing the depression.
Do you guys find it realistic that Harry is immediately good at Quidditch?
Yeah.
Yes. And I like
it. You like it?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Because I mean he's not really good at school. Or he's like middle. And the whole chosen one thing wasn't his choice. So it makes sense that there's something he's good at.
Yeah.
So I think all of us are innately naturally good at something. I mean, it's always different, but there's always that one thing that you don't have to try to be good at, you know? And it's my brother was like that with sports. So yes, like that kid could do everything. And then there's me who could do none of it. Oh, he just stole all of it. So
my sister are exactly the same. She's like good at any like sports, and then I go and like
yeah. Don't care.
I do think that there's a difference between this kind of sport being good at this kind of sport naturally, because this seems more like I don't know. I don't know an apt comparison, like snowboarding or something like that. I don't know anybody who just immediately
very dangerous. Like,
yeah, because you need like
snowboarding is a good one, I think, because you're almost flying.
Yeah,
you know,
and it's like you're putting your trust in this external thing. I don't know if too many people who on their first day snowboarding are like just naturals at it and can do whatever they need to do, to the point that
it's not his first day. Like he had practice with a toy broomstick, no?
Yeah, but that was a little early. He had a large gap between them. Maybe he was so good the neurons started firing back again, and he was like good to go after that. He's like,
I thought about that. It might be like way in the recesses of his mind that experience.
I kind of like that actually.
Maybe
when he was 1.
Yeah, and he just remembers that he picks it up. He's like,
something I've never thought about before, but yeah.
It's like riding a bike once you learn.
He enjoys it so much because he associates that flying feeling with being with his family.
Oh man,
that's sweet.
So it's just natural to him. All right, I like that now.
This is a very depressing chapter. I wanted to know, what do you guys think? Like an alternate universe would have, like if Harry got expelled, what would the story be like? Harry being Hagrid's assistant.
He describes it pretty well, actually.
Yeah.
Just carrying everything.
Depressing watching his ears go off and do all the stuff that he like just barely got a glimpse of maybe getting to do, and having it all ripped away. I don't know.
I would like to think he would do like a Goodwill Hunting where he's basically just every day in the library and like learning about everything.
I love that.
Yeah, that's cool.
He goes up to like Snape. He's like, you know how easy this is for me.
And goes to Draco, do you like them apples?
Yeah.
Such a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never watched it.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
I
Homework.
know the references though from everything, but I've never watched it.
I couldn't.
That's a fun thing. I feel like I'm curious if Harry would have been. I'm actually curious about Hagrid now. When did Hagrid become gamekeeper? Right, it wasn't as soon as he was expelled, right?
I think it's when Dumbledore became the headmaster.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
It says that Dumbledore let him. Or
Yeah, Dumbledore.
Stay on or become. Yeah. I don't know what the wording was.
So what did Hagrid do in between that time?
Yeah. I have to go back and read it again. We'll get there.
I wonder if Hagrid just like went back and chilled with the Giants for a little bit. Like, what did he do?
I was gonna say, like, what did he do between being expelled and coming back as a gamekeeper? You know, or did he leave? Did he stay at Hogwarts somehow? Or I don't know. Did he stay on as the current, you know, that current gamekeeper's like assistant to like learn how to do it, or I don't know.
I was gonna say he's older than Newt, right? I was gonna say he went and did an internship with Newt Scamander and then came back and then knows all about Fantastic Beasts.
Turns out Newt's his protege.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Isn't he younger though?
Yeah, he's younger than you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's
Wait, he's younger than you?
Yeah, he's younger than Newt.
Hagrid is younger than.
Yeah,
interesting. Okay, so
Hagrid was in school with Voldemort.
Yeah, that's new headcanon for me then. I like that. He goes and does an internship with Newt Scamander and then comes back and knows all about animals.
Yeah, I just googled and it says that Dumbledore convinced Armando Dipet to let Hagrid stay on the premises and let him be trained under the then gamekeepers.
Which was probably Og, right?
Yeah.
Probably Og, and like if that's the case, they all must have known he was innocent.
They couldn't prove it.
Yeah, they couldn't prove it for sure, but like if you're gonna not necessarily convict, if you're gonna expel a student for something like that without proof, it just seems highly unethical. And then if you're convinced that he did this thing, even though no one's probably convinced that he did this thing, if you're convinced that he did this thing and you just leave him on, you're like, how does that make any sense?
Yeah,
I mean, he was guilty. He had an acromantula in the school, which could have killed any child in the school at any moment.
Yeah. It's a great point.
I mean, it is Hogwarts we are talking about.
Safest place on earth.
Yeah, exactly. No safer place.
To hide something.
This is funny because that line also comes up later in this chapter because this is when they come across the dog, the three-headed dog. And Ron goes, "What do they think they're doing?"
It's just like, of course, like we were talking about the 7th book earlier, or reading that and about like, of course, there's something hidden at Hogwarts. Yeah. There's always something hidden at Hogwarts.
Yeah.
This chapter also made me realize that we never really see any classes with Ravenclaws.
Yeah,
where they
because they're always paired with, it's either Gryffindor's paired with Hufflepuff or they're paired with Slytherin. They're never paired with Ravenclaw.
Yeah.
Ravenclaws all have independent classes because they're too smart for the rest of us. So they're all doing their own thing. What else did you guys see in this chapter? Oh, go ahead.
Do you think that them holding their hand over the broomstick and saying up, is that wandless magic being performed, or is it like a magic of the broomstick, like embedded in it?
Yeah, I think it's a property of. Yeah, I think it's just a property of the.
That would imply that somebody who isn't magical would be able to use the broomstick. Is it a little bit of both? Does it have to sense the magical blood in you to actually work? Or does it work no matter what because it isn't a magical instrument?
And how would it work with squibs? That'll be also interesting.
Yeah. That's a good question. How would it work
It has,
with squibs? I mean, do they have
it
magical
has to
blood?
sense something. Mm. I
Mm.
mean, because the broom or the brooms didn't do the same for everyone, so it has to sense something.
It's got to be a little bit of both. I wonder if it just has to do with confidence. I don't know. Is Harry that confident when he's going up to that thing? Maybe. I don't know.
I feel like Hermione was confident in her books that she read.
Yeah, she knew all the theory about it, but she...
And I can see Ron being confident as well.
Yeah.
Because Harry even
according to him,
he says like perhaps brooms like horses can tell when you're afraid. I don't know why, because I mean that implies that he's not afraid, you know, because he's like there was definitely a quaver in Neville's voice, you know.
Also, did Harry ride ever a horse? Like, why does he know that?
I'm sure Dudley took horse riding lessons once, and Harry got tagged along and just listened to the horse instructor.
It's funny that Danny and Jen were just talking about wands.
Oh yeah.
And sensing confidence, and they use the analogy of horses as well.
Yeah.
That is another fascinating one. Because you need to, when you apparate, you need to have your wand on you, correct? So is that true for a lot of other things? Like, I'm curious, maybe it's a dumb little question, but is it the same for this? Wes is crawling under my legs right now. Is it the same for this magic with the broom? Like, you have to have your wand on you? And then also, maybe a side question. Where do they keep their wand when they're flying? Like, it can't just be in their pocket. Like, do they have holsters for their wand? Like little...
I've always wondered. Because there's always about him putting his wand in his back pocket.
Yeah.
You know, and then who was it? Was it Moody that said that's a good way to blow off your buttocks or something like that?
Yeah.
And I always thought that, like, there's got to be a better system of like storing this extremely important, delicate magical instrument, but they just seem very flippant about it, you know.
Yeah.
Very just nonchalant. But there's no, I don't know.
I always just figured that their robes, the pockets in their robes, were like a good shape, like long enough for a wand.
It's like a little pencil holder
wand
in one
pocket, like on the inside, where you just
maybe,
you know.
They've got to have
special
that
holster built into it.
I always love the Goblet of Fire movies too, when they have like their little outfits, because in the books when they just walk into the lake with their robes on, I'm like, that's a little strange. I like that they have like a distinct uniform. And in the second task, he has like a holder or like a little like an ankle holder for his wand, and I really like that. I'm like, for Quidditch, I like the idea that you have like a little ankle holder that you just pull it out from your feet and you can like use it anytime you want to. I like the different uniforms for different things.
Also, Miko just made a really good point. Maybe like the brooms work like wands and they channel your magic. Would maybe make sense.
Yeah, blocks of wood.
Yeah, probably that's why Voldemort and Snape were the only one that could learn how to fly. Maybe you can learn how to fly, and just that no one tries enough.
I wonder if there's some way to like cheat the Quidditch system. You put like, you know, like holocore bats or like cork bats. You put like a magical object in your broom, like a phoenix tail feather in your broom, and it's like way faster than everyone else's.
Like Nos for a broom.
Yeah. Like Thestral, it's like the elder one, but Thestral tail feathers or whatever in your broom make it super fast, because that animal is super fast.
It also gives it GPS.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Also, it's weird that the broom flies towards the Forbidden Forest, just like the magical car goes towards the Forbidden Forest.
It's
I wonder,
just
like,
it's just drawn.
Yeah. What's in there?
That's the question that's never completely answered. They just say there's all kinds of manner of beasts in there. I like that it's open-ended though, because it just leaves more room for speculation.
These are very Quidditch-centric chapters, but what else did you guys see in this one? Any other questions?
to me, it's interesting to see like Hermione's progression. So because next chapter is the Halloween, right, where she then has like the switch of realizing how important it is to also like be kind and have friends. Right now, she's still quite self-centered. Like she's worried that they will get her into trouble, or everybody, I guess, in Gryffindor. Also, like I get a quote of her: "Don't you care about Gryffindor? Do you only care about yourselves? I don't want to Slytherin to win the House Cup, and you will lose all the points I got from Professor McGonagall." Like it's all very self-centered, and I really like that because that gives her a bit more of a arc in this book.
Yeah,
I like that.
She's kind of she's an only child though too, so I feel like it kind of makes sense for her because she doesn't really know what it's like to be part of like a team or a group, or so after fighting the troll, of course that's next chapter, but that's when that change occurs. But before that, like she is very just about like you said, selfish, I guess, and she doesn't really have anybody close yet, and she's very just focused on like school, and the goal is to be the best.
Do you guys think it's a little?
I feel like Hermione. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I feel like Hermione changes the most out of any character, or definitely out of the trio, over the course of this book.
Yeah.
She has the most significant changes in her character.
Would you say in this book or out of all the books?
In this book, maybe even out of all of the books. No, not compared to Harry, but
yeah.
I feel like Ron stays pretty consistent. But I feel like in this book, Hermione, in the earlier books, Hermione has the most significant, noticeable character development, growth and development. Because like she's so, here you still see those things later on, like her extreme, desire to adhere to the rules, kind of bossing people around a little bit, mothering. You still see all those things, but it's like her priorities change or something, like friendship. Her trust in Harry and Ron really develops too. Of course, that is part of it. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I was just really noticing that in this chapter, like how it says she comes hissing after them like a goose, like trying to convince them over and over and over again not to go out and find Malfoy for the duel.
Yeah. The descriptions of Hermione and like how she tries to convince him of certain things. So good.
I actually forgot that because I always like in my mind it was always like Ron getting irritated with her, but actually like at some point it says that Harry found her very irritating as well, and I actually forgot that like.
Yeah, she's not like instant. I like it. I liked it in the books, but it I don't know. Maybe it makes Harry a more interesting character, maybe a more complex character, that he just like finds someone annoying who's in his own house. Cause like he just, they're like more fast friends in the books, at least. Maybe not fast friends, but they're like, they just tolerate each other in the books. Except that one line where Ron's like, Leviosa. That's the only thing that he makes fun of her for. But in the books, it's like they don't really interact a ton. They do a little bit.
I mean, they don't talk for weeks.
Yeah. I always think it's a little crazy too that after McGonagall is watching Harry catch a Remembrall, after one catch, she's like, "Seeker on the Quidditch team, found you, Seeker. We're good to go." Wood doesn't even like try him out. He's like, "Let's go. This is it. I'm sold. We're in."
He doesn't even tell him off. Like,
yeah, I know.
He's just like, "Let's go."
yeah. She's like, how much money can I make from this right now?
I hate that theory so much.
It's just so absurd. Like it just throws her into such a completely different light. Like,
yeah, for sure.
I've never thought of that about her ever until this. So
I just heard a funny story about this.
Yeah.
I just heard a funny story about this with the Super Bowl. Some guy put, I think like $50,000 on this on the Super Bowl, on a Super Bowl bet that there was going to be a streaker at the Super Bowl, and he buys tickets to the Super Bowl and is the streaker himself. And he got like a $2,000, $3,000 fine or something like that for doing it, and he was in prison overnight. But then he gets out and then cashes in on his bet and makes a killing.
How much did he win?
I don't know. I think he won like a significant amount. I think he won a lot.
Hilarious.
I know.
But I must I never thought, and I don't know if I just read it like weirdly. Also, I read it in a different language. I'm not sure if because I never saw that McGonagall bought his broom for him. Like I just always thought like they took money out of his vault. That's what I thought. Like
that's what I thought. I never ever thought that it was another adult that bought it for him. I just thought they bought it on his behalf.
That seems so wild to do that though. Like buying a broom on your behalf.
Yeah.
Like
and buying the best broom that that. Not even just any broom.
Yeah.
It's a kid.
Yeah, they're like, he's a minor. He needs a broom.
Even
money.
But even go ahead, Ema.
Yeah, even would suggest. Yeah, even would suggest a Nimbus 2000 or a Clean Sweep 7. I'm like, why are you suggesting the best broom? You don't need the best broom for a school tournament.
He's
for a first year, we're not really sure if he's good yet, but let's get him the best broom that we can.
If the professionals are right.
Yeah.
I would knew that he can afford it, so why not?
That'd be something I would really want to ask JK if I in another lifetime ever got to ask her something like that, you know.
It was always headcanon for me that McGonagall bought it, but someone say that, I think maybe I'm wrong about this, but Dumbledore bought it and then McGonagall just gifted it to him. I don't know where I heard that.
I saw that in I think it was one of the Discord chats when we were talking about it, but I don't know.
Because I don't know where that comes up. That doesn't really come up, I don't think.
I mean, the only thing that comes up is it was approved by all the teachers. That's about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I can't really see Snape approving of that, to be honest, but you never know.
I don't think he was asked.
Yeah.
Didn't Ron say that McGonagall got him the Nimbus when the Nimbus got destroyed in the third book? And like maybe that's JK's kind of way of saying McGonagall got it for him.
I think so.
Probably, I don't know.
Sure.
I don't remember that.
Because they were wondering who sent the firebolt, and then Ron suggests maybe it was also McGonagall because she was also the one that. Maybe I'm remembering. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
I do love that the surefire way to kill Harry though is just to buy him a new broom and bewitch the broomstick. Like Voldemort had easy ways to do that. Just buy Harry a Nimbus 2000, bewitch it to throw him off when he's at 200 feet or something like that, and it's a done deal. You're good to go.
Loving you're giving him this.
I love it.
Like very fast flying object to an underqualified wizard who doesn't know how to protect himself if in the event he falls off of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
That's always. Is there something in Quidditch for the ages that because they talk about a cushioning charm on the broomsticks themselves, but they talk about a cushioning charm on the field. Like what happens if you fall off? Like Arrest on Memento, you know, you see that Dumbledore like saves the day there, but there should be a cushioning charm on the field itself or a net or something like that. I don't know.
I think.
Hopefully the roof will do that if she's not sleeping.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Madam Hooch. Yes.
Madam Hooch.
Like, she doesn't yellow yet. No.
Shouldn't all wizards just like automatically bounce like Neville did when he fell?
Yeah.
Like a survival mechanism.
Yeah.
But is that for underage?
I mean, that was underage magic.
Yeah.
Like a way to protect them until, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of things that happens during underage does not happen after the age of 11. Like Harry teleported, and he doesn't teleport until book 6.
Yeah.
True. I love how they all didn't know it was a broom that he was getting. Like they're like, what is this thing in a package shaped like a broom.
Yeah.
Don't open it here.
I think.
I wonder what it is.
I mean, I think that's the movie. I would assume it's more of a rectangular package, a long rectangular package in the book.
Yeah,
I think so
probably.
because they even said like Malfoy had to feel, and he
Yeah.
feel that it was a broom. He couldn't see that it was a broom. He could feel it because he grabbed it from them.
What else? What did you think the other kids thought it was? Like, if it's not a broom, what else can it be?
What else comes in a rectangular package if you're a witch or a wizard, like that big?
Really long.
I mean, could just be a painting. You don't know.
Yeah, a really long painting. Okay, maybe.
Of Harry.
A life-size replica.
Yeah.
A really big wand.
A really big wand. It's like the bazooka form of
Yeah.
Overcompensating for the fact that he doesn't do any magic in the first book.
Yeah, which is wild. I remember someone said that in the Discord, and I had to like review the entire first book. Like, no way.
Like, he's right.
Nemo, can you talk more about the underage magic thing? Like you said, like Neville can bounce, but he couldn't do that again on command. Once he's in school? Like, do we know why that is?
And I think probably when the wizards or witches are underage, they have sort of this inbuilt survival sort of mechanisms that just go away when they turn 11, because we don't see any accidental magic happening after they go to school. It's kind of similar to how the trace works until 17, and then the trace goes off. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. Do we see any accidental magic in this entire series?
Not from
Aunt Marge.
Yeah.
Third book. Yeah.
Yeah, Aunt Marge when she.
That's right. Yeah, that's true.
Oh
yeah.
That's a great point.
Your magic's tied to your emotions, and he was pissed. Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe that was butt magic. Maybe his wand was in his back pocket and he did some like butt magic.
The butt dial.
Yeah, butt dial, exactly. His wand accidentally speed out.
Butt magic.
I'm gonna think that every single time. All butt magic now.
But wait, wasn't his wand under the stairs then?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
because he had to break it out whenever he left.
Yeah.
And this is the beginning of the next chapter, but I love how this is sort of the start of Harry and Ron's addiction to adventures, because he says that they were like really looking forward to having another one. Yeah, I like that, like, because that gets them into trouble a lot.
Yeah.
This is sort of the first taste of that. So,
I would love like a ledger book of all the kids and like what adventures they've gone on after hours. Like if they've like, because if I'm a kid and I have a bunch of friends, and I would 100% explore that castle after hours all the time. Like,
for sure,
it'd be so fun to just walk around that castle, like looking for all the hidden crevices and all the nooks and crannies and everything that's going on there. Like, I know it's like a very hidden room, but I'm surprised they didn't find the room of requirement earlier.
Even by accident?
Yeah, just by accident. Yeah. But I don't know. I do love that they get in a lot of adventurous trouble, though. And I do really love Ron in this chapter.
When is the first time that they find the room of requirement? What book is that? Like, and I mean the very first time, like when Harry doesn't know it's the room of requirement yet.
I think it's the first time it's mentioned is with Dumbledore finding the chamber pots or room of chamber pots. I think that's the first time it's mentioned, though. I don't think we get it any time before that. I might be wrong. Maybe it does come up again.
Yeah.
Oh, there is the theory. I think there is the theory. I think this is proven wrong, but the mirror is in the room of requirement. but I don't think that's true. I think it's just in a classroom.
Yeah, I think it was just in a disused classroom.
Yeah, just to come back to your point, I love where Ron says to Harry about the duel, like, if you don't know what to do, just throw your wand and then punch him.
That's my favorite line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ron.
And he says duck, like if he sends something at you, duck, because I can't remember
Yeah.
how to
Yeah, how to block it.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's so cute. It's a typical, like, 11-year-olds.
Yep.
Like, it's so funny.
Yeah. The most you can do is send sparks at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else do you guys see in this chapter? We do have the duel. Who would you guys at this point in the books? Who would you guys want on your side for a dueler?
Out of all the students, or just of the ones?
Yeah, let's go all the students. All the students so far.
I mean,
Like
Hermione
first
is
years?
definitely
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah, Hermione for sure. She's gonna know the most spells just because she's
Yeah.
read.
Yeah,
She's gonna at least know of the most spells. Whether she's gonna be able to execute them is a different story. But I don't know. At this age,
I think one of the twins.
Oh, the twins, yes.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
They will break the rules so that you don't have to.
Yeah. I do really love moments in these books too when characters are so mad that they like resort to hand-to-hand combat. Like the one where they get a lifetime ban for Quidditch when I think they're like Crabbe and Goyle are saying all sorts of racist stuff and they like drop their wands and they just are balling. They're
Fred
like
and Harry
fighting.
just go at him.
Yeah. I love that so much. I think it's so gratifying. And even in the movies, it's not in the books, but in the movies, in the third one, where Hermione just turns around and decks him, or she slaps him. I think in the books.
In the book, she slaps,
but in the movies, I love the punch. The punch,
just
so satisfying.
It smacks into the rock behind him.
Yeah.
Or the series.
Also Arthur Weasley and Lucius Malfoy.
Yeah, it's such a good one. Yeah. It's like primal instincts of wizards. They have wands, but sometimes you gotta resort to like, you know, not that you really have to. They could have worked it.
It's satisfying to see because I don't know if any of us want to be in that position where like we want to be so angry that we want to punch somebody, but we can like we've probably been close to it, but we've restrained ourselves because we're civilized.
Yeah.
Just like that like fantasy about it later, like man, like wouldn't it have been great to just you know, oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
I've never punched anybody. Have I wanted to punch somebody? Yes.
Yeah.
I used to do boxing and I definitely imagined a couple of people's faces.
We call that motivation.
I didn't know what steak and kidney pie was until I had to look this up in this chapter. It's actually animal kidney and not like kidney beans. I used to think it was just kidney beans, and I was like, oh, that's normal. But
it is a big thing here as well.
Really?
Like steak and kidney pie. I don't like it. I don't like the texture of kidneys and livers and stuff. Like, you know, but I know it is a big thing.
I don't know. Yeah. I like liver, so I probably would like kidney too. So.
Probably all it's the same texture. Chicken liver is a big thing here. Like peri chicken liver.
Yeah, I
like for breakfast.
Raised on it, but I know people. Yeah, well, my dad loved chicken liver, liver and onions kind of thing. It was a big thing in his family, I guess, growing up, and so yeah. But yeah, no, it's real kidneys, not kidney beans.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Did you try it?
No. Oh yeah, I would definitely try it if I had the opportunity. I mean, I'm pretty much like I'm almost like vegetarian pretty much, so I don't know if I would really eat it, but I would give it a shot. But yeah. How big is Fluffy in your guys' opinion? Like, does the book actually have a description of it? Does he like fill up the entire room?
says something about that.
Yeah.
I mean, it says from floor to the roof, to ceiling.
Curious how big the room was, because that is important. Is he like well portrayed in the movies?
I would say yes.
It says they were looking straight into the eyes of a monstrous dog, a dog that filled the whole space between ceiling and floor.
Dang.
So it just depends on how big the room was.
Like, where did this creature come from? Because this isn't in Newt Scamander's book. This isn't a magical creature.
Hagrid bred it.
Yeah, for real.
How did this dog travel from wherever?
Yeah, for real. Yeah. Like one random day, all of a sudden Hagrid's bringing this 3-headed dog into the castle, and all these students are looking at him.
Look, it was maybe like a special case apparition. Like,
Yeah.
like pop him into there real quick and like, yeah.
Or maybe it does have some kind of magical properties, like it fills up the room that it's in. Like, what's that animal that does that in Fantastic Beasts? Yeah. Maybe it fills up the room that it's in, or like maybe they took it in like a tiny little bag, like the extendable charm, and then like put it in the room, and I don't know. But there's a lot of like, I feel like illegal breeding in these books.
I mean, Hagrid definitely does it.
Yeah.
I mean, Hagrid might be a product
isn't there like
himself.
a reference that? I'm sorry.
I mean, he is.
No worries. Go ahead, Brian.
Isn't there a reference that Fluffy he's a mythical creature from Greece, right? I mean, yeah. Oh, okay. So he's not. We don't think that Hagrid created the 3-headed dog.
Well,
he didn't.
Well, it doesn't give that description in the books. I think it's just understood that it's like a Greek myth, but it's not in Fantastic Beasts. There's no creature like that in Fantastic Beasts. So unless Newt Scamander just doesn't know about this creature, and it's possible, maybe he doesn't have like, maybe it's not a full exhaustive knowledge of all the magical beasts, but it seems like an anomaly of a creature. But then again, Blast and Scroots aren't in there.
God.
So
I think they are.
That's probably one of the most creepy like creatures ever described.
Yeah. It is stuff of nightmares.
Yes, it is the stuff of nightmares. Like it's something that can sting, suck your blood, and light you on fire at the same time. Awesome. You know, like, why?
Well, depending on the day.
The walking them is just hilarious.
Yeah.
Yes, the fact that they even attempted to walk them, they're like, where do we put this? Like, how?
I love to follow like the progression of them. It's so funny.
Yeah. I love when he tries to put them in a box.
It's so good.
Maybe they hibernate. No, they don't.
Oh, that's good.
Hagrid. All
right. Well, you guys have anything else in this chapter before we do our favorite quotes?
I just have one thing that I noticed is that Hermione used Harry's wand for Alohomora in his first book. And it's, I think, a nice nod then that Harry has to use Hermione's wand in the last book.
I never realized that she used his wand until you just mentioned that. I'm like, I'm looking at the page and it says she grabbed Harry's wand.
Yeah, I think it's more because she doesn't have her wand on her because
she just didn't take it with her.
Yeah, she was like just rushing out to tell him not to go, and then
she got locked out.
Yeah.
So then she can kind of like back it up where she knows that, oh, you know, Harry, it's not really the witch, or it's not really the wand, it's the witch or wizard behind it. That's why she keeps saying that, because she used Alohomora and it worked for her. So she's like, I have backup.
At one time.
Yeah. One time where I used one of the easiest spells that you can do.
Yeah.
It is wild to me that wizards have locks on doors at all. Like, why? If Alohomora unlocks every door, why would they ever have a lock on a door?
I mean, they have the counter spell for Alohomora, so.
Yeah, but like, why aren't they putting that on the 3rd floor corridor where there's a 3-headed dog?
That is true.
Because Dumbledore wants them to find it.
Like, maybe it's kind of advanced that Hermione can do Alohomora.
Yeah.
As a, brand spanking new first year.
Yeah, for sure.
They're hoping that they're like, oh, at least it'll keep out the first years.
Yeah, I like you about the first years. Yeah, maybe I'm curious if Fred and George know about this yet, because I feel like they are going to the third floor corridor all the time. I'm curious if they've come across the three-headed dog yet.
I think over there every day.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they go play with Fluffy.
Yeah.
There's 2 of them, so there's only like one other one that can eat them.
Exactly.
Oh.
They bring Lee Jordan.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what are your guys' favorite quotes in this chapter? Or quote, not paragraph, right? Quote, line.
Not paragraph.
I think my favorite line is the one that you mentioned before, Cecilia, where he's like, "And what if I wave my wand and nothing happens? Throw it away and punch him on the nose." Ron suggested. It's a great one.
Oh, that's good. My favorite is when they come down to go to the duel. It is like it. And it was Hermione wearing a pink dressing gown and a frown.
Yeah.
And a frown. Like she's wearing a boat.
Exactly. And just imagine her. Like, but in my headcanon, she's got like funny clippers on as well. So,
I love that.
For me, there are 2 iconic ones. One is, of course, the one we could have all been killed or worse, expelled.
Yeah.
But the other one that I find more hilarious is Wood, thought
Yeah.
Harry, bewildered. Was Wood a king she was going to use on him?
Yeah. For Harry.
That's my second option. Good.
That's a good one.
Yeah. The one I like is when Hermione says, "I couldn't help overhearing what you and Malfoy were saying" in the sort of Great Hall, I think. And Ron just mutters, "Bet you could."
Yeah, there's some good lines in this.
My favorite is right before Nemo's. It's like right when Hermione comes up to him, and then Ron says, "Can't a person eat in peace in this place?"
He's in the Great Hall, surrounded by tons of people, and he says that.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, mine's the punch in the nose. You can't really get past.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I really like when McGonagall tells Harry that his father would have been proud and that he was also an excellent Quidditch player. I just love that so much. Like, Harry knows so little about his parents. And I love that she shares that.
Yeah. There were 2 things that I saw about that before too. What is your guys' maybe this is a boring discussion for you guys, but what position did James play? In the movie it says Seeker, but that's not confirmed in the book, so I think he was a chaser.
Yeah, I think also chaser.
You seem convinced of that, Bria. You think he was a Seeker?
I am. Yeah, I mean, because why would he have been playing with the snitch? I know why. I mean, I know people's theories as to why that he could still have been playing with it and been a chaser, but I'm just determined that he was a Seeker, with Harry being a Seeker, and I don't know, he just has the vibes of a Seeker.
Yeah, he kind of does. Yeah, I'm kind of with you.
Well, Lily would say he's a keeper.
Aww, that's so cute.
Not until 7th year.
Yeah. There is. This is one of my favorite movie canons too. It's because it's only in the movies. When they go to the little trophy room and they see Harry's or James Potter's name on that little shield, McGonagall's name is right next to him. So McGonagall was probably a great Quidditch player. I kind of love that. And that's how she was able to recognize that Harry was going to be a good Quidditch player too. I really like that.
I want to hear more about that.
I'll come up with some headcanon that McGonagall is like the greatest Quidditch player Gryffindor has ever seen.
All the positions.
Yeah. She didn't just play one, and she played all of them. I feel like McGonagall would be a great beater, if I'm being completely honest.
Oh, yeah. I can see that.
Or like a chaser. I feel like she was just a unbelievable chaser.
Yeah.
Well, guys,
this isn't the next chapter, but when they say like she's so mad, her lips were white. Like, oh, I can just imagine it. Like, reminds me of my grandmother. And she got mad at us. No.
Well, the next one's going to be a good one. It's Halloween. I love that chapter. But thank you. Thanks for joining, guys. This is a pleasure. And until next time.
Bye.
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 Bye.